Posted by you/Smithsthroa. I, 34F, have no contact with my stepmother, Mary. Long story, not worth explaining. It's been 5 years since I cut her off from my and my family's lives. As such, she hasn't seen my son, Adam, since he was 3 years old, and she's never met my daughter, 4F. Throughout the years, she has attempted to contact me and my kids several times. My father used to help her sometimes. He'd tell me how awful she felt, how much she wanted to meet my daughter, and that the kids needed their grandma. I've never considered her a grandparent, as both my mother and mother-in-law are active in their lives. After several fights, my father apologized and stopped assisting her, but Mary still tries to get in touch with me now and then. I always state that I have no interest in seeing her or allowing her to be a part of my children's lives. My son's birthday was in September. On the day of, neither of my kids were home. A large box was delivered to our building. I opened it to find more than a dozen new toys for my children, along with a note that read, "Grandma Mary loves you both." As I later found out, she had bought the toys on a recent trip to the US. I couldn't think of it as anything but a manipulation tactic. My children are barely aware she exists. Why would she send them both a box full of toys on my son's birthday? I also think she planned the delivery for a time she thought the kids would be home so that they'd see the toys immediately. Either way, my husband and I decided not to keep any of the toys. We donated them all throughout October. The kids never saw any of them. Last week, my father called me. He said Mary had just told him about the toys and wanted to know whether the kids liked them. I told him the truth, and we had an argument. My father called me cruel and ungrateful for what I did. He said he understands Mary and I don't get along, but she still cared enough to spend hundreds of dollars on a loving gesture for my children, and the least I could have done was let them know about it. I honestly couldn't imagine keeping those toys, but I'd be lying if I said the amount of money spent on them didn't make me feel guilty. What do you all think? Up on why she cut ties with Mary. The long story is essentially my entire childhood. Having had her in my life when I was a child, I don't think Mary should be around any children, period. She was horrible to me when I was young because I refused to pretend she was my mother. I've been in therapy for years, and it's still hard to talk about how she treated me. I feel that allowing her to be a part of my adult life at all was already giving her a second chance. I cut her off for good when she threw a tantrum because I hadn't taught my son to call her grandma. To name a few things she did. Mary tried to convince my father to make me stop eating dinner so that I'd lose weight. She made several detrimental comments about my body while I was going through puberty. Whenever my sister or I got sick, she'd claim we were faking it. Neither of us ever faked an illness. I once got sick while home alone with her, and it took me throwing up 3 times before she agreed to call my father. On one occasion, my sister got sick and she pretended to get sicker. Whenever my sister and I failed to accomplish something, she'd insult our intelligence. Whenever we succeeded, we had gotten lucky. We weren't allowed to say anything even remotely negative about Mary, or she'd have a breakdown. I once said she looked more like one movie character than another, and she started crying. I was 12, and this was the same woman who implied I was fat on an almost daily basis. I don't like talking about this, though therapy has been helping, which is why I didn't give examples originally. I don't care about her feelings enough to want to hurt her. I deny her a relationship with my children because she is an awful person. Up on her relationship with her father. I used to be low contact with my father. When I cut contact with Mary, she spent a few months trying to use him as a messenger. He has since agreed to stop, and our relationship has been improving, but I intend to proceed with caution if we can't sort this out. She has also had her mother call me to tell me off 3 times, and her brother once. I've blocked them both. Update 6 days later. Hey guys, thank you for your input. Many of you mentioned that you couldn't make a judgment without knowing why I have no contact with Mary, and I think that's completely fair. I explained it more thoroughly in the comments, and I recommend reading them, but Mary was awful to me when I was young. I loathe talking about it, though therapy has been helping, but it stemmed from the fact that I wouldn't allow her to be a second mother to me. I went low contact with her in my early 20s, yet she still treated me poorly whenever I saw her. When my son was born, Mary begged me to give her a second chance. She apologized for upsetting me and promised she had changed. I warned her that if she ever overstepped or even hinted at going back to her old ways, she'd never see me or my family again. To be honest, I'm surprised she lasted 3 years. I didn't clarify this in my original post because it's something I have trouble talking about, and I didn't think it was relevant. I was asking about the donations, not whether I was justified in cutting ties with Mary. However, I do agree that it's best to have the complete picture before making judgments, so I apologize for withholding that. Another thing I didn't mention is that Mary never had children of her own, and my only sister is child-free. My kids are the only grandchildren in the family, which I think is why Mary wants to see them so badly. Anyway, I went through your comments and organized a list of things I wanted to say to my father. I considered making one for Mary as well, but I doubt she'd actually listen to it. I spoke to my father on Saturday. He said he talked with his wife. Apparently, Mary bought the gifts because it broke her heart to be unable to watch my kids grow up, and she hoped the toys would at least let them know how much she loved them. My father also said that Mary told him about the gifts. He insists he had no idea, because it had been a while, and the kids and I hadn't thanked her yet. My husband and I have our children say thank you through voice messages whenever they receive a gift from someone who isn't nearby. We've done this for my father before, so I think that's what Mary was expecting. I explained to him that it didn't matter how thoughtful he thought Mary's gesture was. When I cut ties with her, I cut her off completely. That means no gifts, no phone calls, and no contact with my children, directly or indirectly. She can claim to love them all she wants, but she will never have any involvement in their lives. We had another argument, but I put my foot down. I told my father that if he ever attempts to assist her in any way or brings up Grandma Mary to my children, he will never see me again. I'll allow him to be a part of his grandkids' lives, but he needs to accept that his wife won't be. Ultimately, my father agreed, but I intend to watch him closely from now on. I don't want to cut contact with him, but this will be his final chance. If he screws this up, he's done. While I'm not 100% confident this will last, I'm still happy with the outcome. I've been going through a fairly stressful time at work, and it feels great to have this weight off my shoulders. More importantly, I feel well equipped to handle whatever comes next. I don't intend to write any further updates. Once again, thank you. Second update 4 weeks later. I really didn't think I'd update again, but I figured I'd let you know that Mary sent us another box. This time, my father warned me. Last week, he sent me a text that read, "Mary is sending Christmas gifts for the kids." I promise I just found out. I was at work, and sure enough, the box was there when I got home. My husband and I managed to take it to our bedroom before our children saw it. The box was smaller than the previous one, and we counted 10 toys with Christmas wrapping inside, 6 for my daughter and 4 for my son. There was also another note, which read pretty much the same as the last one, with an added, "I'm sorry you didn't get my other gifts." I decided to text Mary this time. I unblocked her and wrote the following, "Anything you try to give me or my children will be donated immediately. Please stop attempting to contact us. You will never be allowed near my family." I then blocked her again. This was my first time unblocking, or even contacting, her in 5 years. The next day, I spoke to my father. He said Mary didn't tell him she was sending me the box until after doing so. He'd been out of town for a week at that point, and she hadn't said anything about buying my kids more presents before he left. She let it slip to him over the phone and then begged him not to tell me. Apparently, Mary was distraught at my text. That's all I know about how she's reacting to this. My father is doing his Christmas shopping right now, and there are a number of reasons why I don't think he was involved in this. Still, I don't feel like I can trust him right now. I told him he will see me and my family less often than usual for the next few months. We'll see each other on Christmas Eve, party at my cousin's, Mary was banned years ago, and then in February for my aunt's birthday, weekend trip, Mary's not coming. Besides that, I intend to remain in low contact with him for a while. I don't intend to keep that up forever, but I want to be able to trust him again. My father said he understood. I know a lot of you wanted me to cut my father off. I'm not sure I can explain why, but I don't want to do that. Even if I did, I'm not ready to. It might happen in the future, and I'm well aware it should be happening now, but I do think we still have a shot at making this work. This entire week was crap. The first time Mary sent us the gifts, I was just confused. This time, I was very upset. I cried when I read her note. I am feeling much better now, though. My husband and I donated the new toys over the weekend, and getting rid of them felt great. I am very glad we managed to protect our children from this. Also, let me add one final time, I came here to ask whether I was wrong for donating the gifts, not for cutting ties with Mary. So if anyone else intends to tell me I should allow her in my kids' lives, don't bother. I will not budge on this. I don't think I have anything else to add. Thank you all, and happy holidays.